Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the House Divided podcast. We are doing a preview of the first round of the first ever 12-team college football playoff, and we will also be previewing a couple of big showdowns in the NFL this weekend, as well as our usual best bets, headlines, and fantasy explosion players. To get us started, let's go to the Indiana where the Indiana Civil War or Battle of Indiana, whatever you want to call it, is happening. Notre Dame hosts Indiana. What do you think is the outcome of this game, and what are you looking forward to in it?
Well, it's apparently the most expensive game ever. I think the average ticket price is around 1,200, something around there. So a lot of hype coming into this game, especially in that state of Indiana. I'm picking Notre Dame to win. I think they'll take care of business. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think Notre Dame pulls out. I think Riley Leonard and his running ability will be different. And obviously, the only tough matchup we saw in Indiana was against Ohio State, where they just kind of got shut down. And I think it'll be, especially with that cold weather, it could be more of the same. So I'm going to pick Notre Dame. I trust their offense a little bit more, and I think their defense is better than Indiana, so I'm going to pick Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm taking Notre Dame as well this game. I think they're very good defensively. Riley Leonard's gotten the run game going. I'm a big fan of Jaden Greathouse as a receiver, so I want to see them get that going, and I do think eventually Notre Dame's going to win. However, I do think Indiana manages to keep it close. It'll be a good game. So Curtis Rourke, I think, can keep it close, especially with that run game, that defense. It's going to be good. It'll be an interesting game, but I think Notre Dame comes out on top.
Yeah, the standalone Friday night game, so all eyes would be on that game. So interesting. It'll be an interesting game. But moving straight into our big noon kickoff, Big Ten loves that big noon kickoff. We got SMU, not Ohio State this time, Penn State, another frequent there. But can SMU pull off the upset against Penn State?
I don't think they can. Not this year, at least. I don't think they have what it takes to be able to attack that stout Penn State defense. I think it's better than that Clemson defense. That while they managed to get a lot of points in the end, those were, catch up in the end, not sustainable drives. They struggled early on. I think this Penn State defense is probably better than that Clemson defense. And then that offense, I feel like they showed that Penn State offense showed they could do a lot against a great defense in Oregon, and I think they can do a lot against SMU this week. And I do think Penn State comes out quite handedly in a win against SMU this week.
Yeah, I think Penn State's going to take care of business. They got probably the easiest draw out of the teams, I think, especially SMU coming up to that cold weather. They're not used to it, a Texas team. I think Penn State's going to take care of business. I think, like you said, their defense is slightly better than Clemson's, and their offense is kind of on par. And I think Tyler Warren's going to have a big game, and Drew Aller's going to have a big game. So I think Penn State will win with around 10 to 17 points.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Aller announced he's coming back to college, so I think there's a lot of excitement there with him too, and I think that gets him going too.
Yeah. Moving on to our next subject, we got the Texas State 2020 championship rematch, Cade versus Quinn. What are your thoughts on this game? Obviously, as a Texas fan.
Well, obviously, it's a bit of a flip. Cade Klubnik went to high school with both two important defensive players of the Texas Longhorns, Ethan Burke and Michael Taft. Obviously, picked off Quinn Ewers to seal the win for them. Now, hopefully, it goes the other way. Michael Taft picks off Cade Klubnik to seal the win for Texas. But I do think Texas does win this game. I'll say they win handedly so as well. Maybe not as handedly as I think Penn State's going to win, but I do think Texas can take control. They have a superior defense. They have one of the top two defense in my opinion, in the country, and their offense is better at every level, in my opinion, than Clemson's. And I do think Texas is able to take control of this game and secure their game against Arizona State next week.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick Texas to win. I think it's just a mismatch all around. I think Clemson's just there because they won their conference, which is obviously a great accomplishment for a team, especially in the Power Four. But obviously, I do think this is going to be kind of a closer, not like maybe like a 3-point game, but like a 7-ish point game. And I think I think Texas defense is the difference here. I actually like Clemson's offense a bit more than y'all at the moment. I don't like what I've seen except a couple games here and there. You guys give up on the run too early sometimes, and Quinn has been mistake prone since he's came back. So, but that defense is obviously what sets y'all apart, and like you said, top 2 defense in the country. So I am going to take that, but I wouldn't be surprised if you guys give up some of the most points you've given up this season to this Clemson offense. I think Dabo's going to have some things up his sleeve, and Cade will have a good game. But I do think you guys obviously win, and it'll be back and forth, but I think you guys win. At the end, it doesn't seem to struggle. Like, it's not going to come down to, like, the last drive or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that much of a struggle. I mean, I obviously disagree. I think we have a vastly superior offense than them.
When has it been displayed?
I mean,
what game? Give me a game.
We were 2 fumbles away from beating A&M by 35.
Yeah, but you still fumbled. Like, we forced those fumbles. It's not like
we dominated Michigan offensively. We dominated OU offensively.
Wow, OU.
I mean, they're the team that dominated Alabama, who everybody was clamoring should be in the playoffs. So
no, not reasonable people. But I mean, they have these games here and there. But I mean, there hasn't.
I mean, we beat who we needed to beat.
No, I'm not saying you guys are a bad team. I'm just saying Clemson has a better offense than y'all. Like, you guys have been putting up 20 points almost every game. And like Quinn, like, has he not been mistake prone?
He has
all
been
these against Georgia, against Kentucky, against us, against Georgia the first time. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not picking y'all to lose. I'm not saying, it's going to be a game-winning field goal, a game-winning touchdown. I'm just saying, like, I like Clemson's offense slightly better, and I like y'all's defense a lot
other than
better.
the quarterback position is the only one you could debate they're better at.
I like quarterback. I like running back. I like him Alpha.
I disagree. I think Wisner.
Well, you got Wisner, who has had some big games here and there,
we got Blue,
but has been disappeared, and then you got Blue that all Texas fans complain because he's a fumble machine.
We also got Gibson, who's very solid.
Yeah, but I think, like, if you compare Maffa and Wisner, I like Maffa better. I think the receivers you guys obviously got, but I also do like the receivers with Wesco and what's his name, Antonio Williams. And I like Bring Stool. Their tight end's really good. I like Gunnar
You think
Helm.
he's better than Gunnar Helm, though?
No, I think he's better.
Yeah.
But, I mean, quarterback is the most important position. But, I mean, I'm not saying they're way better. I'm just saying I like them slightly better. I've seen more games of them. Obviously, they're playing worse caliber defense, but I've seen them drop 45 to 50 points a lot of games except that Louisville game. So I've seen more from them recently to make me believe, in my eyes, they're a better offense. But their defense doesn't compare to y'all. That's all I said. I don't know why you got so offended. But let's move on. Tennessee, I saw a lot of Tennessee fans buying some of the tickets and finessing some Ohio State fans. Will the Tennessee take over the shoe Saturday night?
They're currently planning, not on planting the flag, on stealing the goalpost and throwing it in the river. I don't know why. Maybe focus on a game that you're going to lose, because you're going to lose that game. Ohio State is superior at basically every position. They are at home in the cold somewhere. You're from Tennessee. You don't play well. You're not going to play well in the cold. They're going to be able to control this game. I feel like they can run the ball, they can pass the ball, and they're very good defensively. Things of which Tennessee are all good at, but I think Ohio State's better at all of those things.
Yeah, I like Tennessee better. I think. Sorry, I was looking at the script and I saw Tennessee. I like Ohio State better. I do think there'll be quite a bit of Tennessee fans. That's what I heard, but obviously they'll be vastly outnumbered in the shoe. So I am going to take Ohio State. I think it'll be a close game, a defensive battle. I think they both have elite defenses and offenses are good, but I think both these teams' defense is what they shine. So I think it's going to be low scoring. I think Ohio State will win. I think Jeremiah Smith has not a blow-up game, but has a big game, and I think him and that running game is going to be the difference, even though I do like Dylan Sampson for Tennessee a lot. I just think they'll be playing for behind a lot from the game, so they'll rely on Nico, who's a little less experienced than Will Howard is.
Yeah, I think Ohio State will be able to get to the perimeter of this game, which is what they failed to do against Michigan. They're going to use those elite talented receivers in Igbuka, Smith, and they're going to get that offensive going. And then they'll be able to complement that with that elite rush game, which was not that stagnant against Michigan. It was just that they're trying to avoid the perimeter for some reason in that game. and they couldn't get anything going solely based on the rush game.
Yeah. All right, that concludes the college football playoffs. It's going to be great games. Hopefully these second round matchups are a little bit better. Obviously, we got those Boise and Arizona State. That's going to be kind of the same, but we'll see. You never know. Let's move on to the NFL. First order of business, your Steelers in a big divisional matchup in Baltimore. Saturday, too. A lot of great games on Saturday. Who takes control of the AFC North?
Yeah, it's a tough window for me. I mean, my favorite soccer team, Barcelona, plays at that time. The Pittsburgh Steelers play at the time, and the Texas Longhorns play in the exact same time slot on the same day. It's a tough time for me. I think it comes down to one major factor, and that's T.J. Watt. I don't know if he's going to play. He's questionable for the game. George Pickens, we don't know if he's going to play. Those are the Steelers' best offensive player and the Steelers' best defensive player. Because of the fact that they're questionable, and if they play, they're going to play hurt, and if they don't play, well, even more so of an impact. I do think Baltimore comes out of the game just because of availability.
Dang, you're not supporting your own team here?
I really wish I could. I mean, we've beat them, but the Steelers are 1-10 in games they play without T.J. Watt since they drafted him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's obviously a big deal, but...
I saw Netflix is marketing the Steelers-Chiefs game on Christmas, and the marketing is all Patrick Mahomes and T.J. Watt, and there's a chance neither of those players plays that game.
Yeah. I think that whole Netflix thing's going to be like the Mike Tyson, you can't even watch it, but anyway, that's irrelevant. Yeah, this is a really tight game for me. I think if TJ Watt's availability is going to be a huge decider for me, but as of now, since he's questionable, I'm going to go with the Ravens, but if he does play, I do like y'all because like you mentioned last time, you guys kind of own the Ravens a lot, and I think I like y'all's defense better, and I think you can just stop them more than they can stop y'all. So I'm going to go with y'all if TJ Watt is available. And if is George Pickens playing?
George Pickens is still questionable to play.
Okay, so if they both play, I'll pick the Steelers. If they both don't play, I'll pick the Ravens. Kind of a cop-out, but it's kind of tough when two decisive players on both sides are questionable. Moving right along to our other Saturday game, we got the Texans versus Chiefs. Do you think the Texans will prove they are real contenders here against the Chiefs in Kansas City?
It's the exact same story as the last game, in my opinion. It comes down to, is the best player going to play? It's Patrick Mahomes. We don't know if he's going to play. He's questionable again, ankle injury. If he plays, I'm favoring Kansas. If he doesn't play, I'm favoring Houston. Again, it's just the reality of the situation these teams are facing. It's just how important these players are. So I guess, I mean, the reality looks more like Mahomes is not going to play as of right now, but he's still questionable. So because of that, I guess right now I'm saying yes, Houston can win because of that.
Yeah, obviously Mahomes is a big deal. I think with or without him, I'm going to take the Chiefs. Different margins of victory and different methods to win. But I think even without Mahomes, this defense is probably a top 3 defense in the league. And they can shut down CJ, who has been struggling. And then they can shut down that run because they're the number 1 run defense. And I think they can really run it on Houston enough to put up and just get to the 50, have Butker just kick. But obviously, I think they'll score a touchdown. But I just think they'll do enough to squeak by Houston, even without Mahomes. But with Mahomes, obviously, I'm still going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not picking them without Mahomes, but I'm picking them with Mahomes. I mean, how funny, though, would it be if Carson Wentz becomes the elite backup that takes his team to the playoffs? Yeah. That would be ironic. That would be funny. That would be poetic.
I think they're already probably in the playoffs no matter what Wentz
does. I mean, take them
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Say for some reason Mahomes doesn't play the rest of the year and he pulls a Nick Foles. That would be so funny.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Okay, moving right along to from the AFC to the NFC. Can the Lions keep up? Can the Vikings keep up with the Lions at Seattle? I think Geno is also questionable.
Yeah. So, again, it comes down to it won't come down to it as much because with Sam Howell, it's a lot easier to say yes. But even if Geno is playing, my answer is still yes. I do think Minnesota's a superior team in offensively and defensively. They're also playing lights out. As far enough as I'll say that they're currently superior than Seattle. and because of that, I'm taking Minnesota. I do think they win this week, enough to keep up with the Lions this week. But as I said earlier in the week, obviously Vikings have the hardest schedule left of the elite NFC teams, and it's going to be a lot harder to keep up in those 2 later weeks than it is this week. But this week, I do think they can keep up with the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings regardless, too. Obviously, it'll be a harder game if Geno does play. But I think Sam Howell's a great backup. We saw what he did in Washington last year. But I just like that Vikings defense. I like Darnold, Jefferson, Addison, Jones. I think they'll do enough to win up there in Seattle and keep up with the Lions at top, and they'll survive another week. I think they'll play the Packers next week. So that would be more of a test to me than Seattle.
Exactly where I was going.
Yeah. But moving to another NFC East showdown, Commanders versus Eagles. What are your thoughts on this game?
Finally a game where I'm not counting on an injury a lot on the aspect of what to look forward to in the game. I do think Philadelphia keeps the momentum rolling. They keep going. They've been playing great football recently. We saw them in a dominant win over Pittsburgh. And on the Commanders they stagnated for a bit, and then they started getting going again. But I do think it's going to come down to Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. That defense, that O-line, it's a lot for anybody to deal with, and I don't think Washington is quite there as we saw the first time they played.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go the opposite here. It's not because I hate the Eagles. I think I'm going to take the Commanders. The spread's 3.5. We'll go into more on that later, but when the Eagles have, the doors have been open for them late in the season in these past years, they've kind of slipped up 1 or 2 and not, last year they had the division basically locked up and they collapsed and the Cowboys came in and won it.
But 2 years ago, they were incredible at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm not saying it happens every year, but I just think they're not going to completely collapse and lose out. I'm just saying I think they'll slip up here in a divisional game against the Commanders, who are a very good team. So I am going to take the Commanders because I think the Eagles won earlier in the season, and usually when they've both been good teams, they kind of split. So I'm going to take the Commanders here. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles win. I mean, they're favored, but I'm going to take the Commanders here, part because I hate the Eagles and part because I just feel like they're going to lose.
I mean, I'd love to. Jaden Daniels is my quarterback in fantasy, so
yeah,
I always want to see him do good.
But, let's go into our best bets, headlines, and fantasy explosion. You want to go into your fantasy players here?
I'm going to start off with Baker Mayfield. Easy game this week. He's only projected around 20, which is and the team he's facing as averaging 25 a week to the quarterback. So that's exactly what I need. Plus, those running backs, we saw Bucky Irving get hurt recently. Who knows how the carries are going to work. And I love the targets he has around him. McMillan's gotten going recently. And you obviously have Mike Evans, who's just an elite receiver. So I do like the Baker Mayfield and what he can do this week. James Conner is my next pick. You've seen what he's done the last couple of weeks. He's been an elite running back. He more than doubled his thing last week, and then he had an elite performance, 10+ his projections the week before. And I do think he keeps it going this week against an even easier team. Let me check the numbers right here because I believe they were 31st.
They're probably the Panthers, 31st.
Yeah, I think they're 31st against the running back this year. So I'd love him this week. He is, just to confirm.
It's 32nd,
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, they are. 31st. And then speaking of 32nd, though, JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba only projected 13. They're going to be facing the Minnesota Vikings, 32nd against wide receivers fantasy-wise. And I do expect Seattle to be playing from behind the entire game. They're going to be throwing the ball, I think, regardless of whether Sam Howell or Geno Smith is in. And I do think JSN's kind of becoming that go-to guy, regardless of Metcalf and Lockett being there. It's going to him.
Yeah, I have a lot of receivers in mind. I didn't notice till now. But kind of with your big show, I'm going with Mike Evans. Dallas ranks 23rd against receivers. It's going to be a close spread, so they could be playing from behind or playing with a small lead. Evans is only about 260 yards from getting his 1,000 yards, which he gets every year he's been in the league. If he gets to this season, it'll be 11 straight seasons. So I think they'll try to be feeding him to chase that. And then I got DJ Moore, 13.7. Detroit ranks 27th against wide receivers, and he got 21 points last time they played each other. So I think they'll obviously be playing from behind. So I think Caleb Williams will find DJ Moore quite a bit. And I got Devontae Adams back again, back-to-back weeks, projected 14.1. LA ranks 18th against wide receivers. They're an underdog. The Jets suck. They're always playing from behind, throwing the ball a lot, and we've seen him just get absolutely massive target numbers. So I think he'll get even more this week. So I'm going to take Devontae for 14.1 points.
All right. On to the headlines. I'm going to start us off with Buffs go out with a bang. They play BYU this week. A lot of us, we all expected that to be the Big 12 championship. We know it didn't happen. But this is going to be Heisman, Travis Hunter's last game, Shedeur Sanders' last game. I do think they go out with the bang. Big win over BYU this week. And those two cement their status as the top picks for the draft. My next headline, my NFL headline, is Bucks beat down on the boys. We got that B alliteration today. I do think we've talked about it. We both said how we like Mike Evans. I like Baker Mayfield. I do think they're going to have an offensive onslaught against a weak Cowboys defense. Well, I do think the Cowboys can keep up a little this week. I do think the Bucks come out big and cement their spot at the lead of the NFC South.
Yeah. All right. I got same two quarterbacks, different result. Obviously, in the state championship, Cade ended up winning, but Quinn had the better stat game. So this time I'm going to go Cade having the best stat game and Quinn winning. So I'll go with that. And then my NFL one, I got Jets don't get above ground. I just don't think they'll beat the Rams. I think the Rams passing game is going to be too good, even though the Jets corners are strong. But I think the Rams could also run in with Kyron Williams. We've seen him get 20-plus touches these past couple weeks. So I am going to take the Rams to beat the Jets here. And then for my best bets, I got Clemson plus 12. Like I've said, I think Texas is going to win. I don't think they'll win by 3. They'll win around the 7 to 10 range. So I'm going to take Clemson to cover. I think 12 is just too high a number for a team to cover. The Clemson could backdoor cover this. Like they're down 17 and they score a touchdown in the last minute. So I'm going to take those 12 points. Then I got Tennessee plus 7.5. I think Ohio State will win this, but I think it's going to be low scoring. So I'm going to take 7.5 points for Tennessee to keep it close. I got the Penn State and SMU over 54 points here. Both high-powered offenses. SMU, I don't think SMU's defense can stop this Penn State offense, and I think SMU can put up just enough because they have a high-powered offense to get over this 54 total. And lastly, I got the Commanders plus 3.5. I'm doubling down on my take that they'll beat the Eagles, but just in case they don't, keep it between a field goal.
All right. For my college football best bet, I'm going with the Penn State Nittany Lions winning to minus 8.5. I said earlier I think they win big. I think they're superior in almost every way to SMU, and I think they get ahead early and they keep that lead throughout the entire game. And they keep it big, most importantly. And then for the NFL, I'm going with the LA Rams. Again, minus 3.5 over the Jets this week. The Jets, like we've said, are not a great team right now. They don't have a lot going for them. They're old. They're not good. They have 4 wins right now. And meanwhile, I've talked a lot about how I love the Rams right now, how I think they can beat anybody. I think Puka Nacua gets working. I think Cooper Kupp has a nice little bounce back after 0.00 points last week.
It's a great game.
Yeah. And I do think they can get going even against those elite corners. And if they don't, Kyron Williams is going to get going. And I think that defense is playing very well. Nobody's really talking about it, but Jared Verse is the Rookie of the Year. Brandon Fisk is having an insane year down the middle. Those 2 bros coming up from Florida State, and just what a story there and the seasons they're having. Plus, overall, just that defense has really been able to be better recently. and they're really cementing the Rams to what I think is going to be a big week and hopefully a big season for them.
Yeah, I think Cooper Kupp had what you call the track meet game. He ran like 5 miles and didn't do anything. But obviously that's unlike him. But
the cardio workout.
Yeah, the cardio workout. It's like he ran on the treadmill. But no, he had a block. But anyway, obviously all jokes. He's a great player. Don't expect that from him ever again. But thanks for watching. Enjoy watching those great college football games and the NFL this weekend. A lot of games on Saturday, NFL games too, which feels weird, but thank you.